Hey, welcome back to Completely Off the Rails, everybody. For those of you who have been here before, you guys know what's up. Babe, for the new listeners, you want to tell them what we're all about here?
Sure. We are a weekly podcast where we discuss different topics. We focus, he always says mainly on stupid, petty arguments people have, but some of them are serious in nature, or serious at least to the people that are sending them in. Sometimes we have submissions from listeners who are dealing with a problem and want us to solve it for them. As in, like, hey, we'll do whatever the hell you tell us to do. We're just tired of fighting over it. Just give us a damn solution. And sometimes they just want our opinion. We also receive submissions to check out different internet sites, which I'm not going to lie to you, they're mostly Reddit. And we get asked about those as well. And we get those a lot. I swear to God, like every single day, we get shit from people that's like, did you see this Reddit post?
I
And we
mean,
could do like an entire podcast on just Reddit.
Reddit's fucking nuts. There's a
Yes,
lot of shit going on
it
Reddit.
really is.
And I mean, people are super, honest and open.
They
Like,
are.
they say some things on there that I'm like, oof,
They
I would not
are.
have said that.
But the difference between Reddit and us is we're honest, but also fucking helpful. Not just honest and being dicks.
Let's
Well,
go
I'm
ahead and
not anyway.
get it out of the way. Pulitzer Prize.
Pulitzer Prize winning shit here.
Because if I didn't say it now, she was going to say it later. Just get that shit out of the way now.
I still might.
I'm sure you will. So anyway, make sure you guys go to cotrpod.com for everything you need. Social media, merch, show submissions, all that stuff. A link to our Patreon there is on there as well. A lot of great extras out there. There's a few discounts we're offering on some of the tiers. We're going to start live streaming. You can check all that stuff out on Patreon as well.
We do have a few warnings. We both have severe ADHD, so staying on track is legit impossible. We do go in every direction while answering the question. But again, that's why our podcast is completely off the rails.
Yeah. And listen, we are in the comedy genre. We're going to make jokes about a lot of stuff, like all the stuff. It's all in good fun. Somebody's going to get offended, but we're all adults, so just get unoffended. You'll be okay. Trust us. You'll be fine.
Yeah. What he's trying to say is we may not be for you. That's completely fine. You gave us a shot. We had fun. You apparently didn't. No hard feelings. We'll continue on and you just stay the fuck away from rating our podcast. Win win.
True. All right. So before we get started, hold on. I got to mix this real quick.
For fuck's sake.
Well, you know I can't do this without drinking. Anyway,
Good.
what are we talking about tonight, babe?
Okay. Look, first, let me say that some of this is edited for clarity and time because the first one is a listener submission. The second is a submission that someone sent from Reddit. They are both edited for clarity and time. One, people don't always use spell check. I mean, use Word, people. Fucking use Word. It'll do it for you.
When you
Puts little
see the
squiggly
quiggly rhyme,
lines.
it's
Yeah.
fucking wrong.
Yeah. And I'm not saying that being judgmental because I use Word for my shit. If I'm writing, like when I write notes, they got to be professional because somebody might read these fuckers. And I'm telling you, I go all the time, I open up a Word doc and I write the word just to make sure the shit is spelled right. So I say that lovingly, put the shit on fucking Word and spell check your shit, okay?
You ever pick up a pencil or a pen and you start to write shit and you're like, I'm not adult enough for this. I need my computer.
Right?
I should not be writing with this. Yeah.
It doesn't matter how many times with some words, like embarrassed. Every time I'm like, are there 2 R's or 2 S's or both? Just one? What the fuck? And then I open a Word doc. Like that. I mean, that's me.
That's exactly what I do.
No. And also, we all know, I mean, if you've been listening to this shit, you know that long COVID has got my ass. So the doctor's already given me a damn inhaler, but it is what it is. Like, I'm still getting out of breath. So some of the shit's getting edited because if you write the same sentence 15 times, it's getting read once. I'm just telling you.
And if you haven't seen it yet, go out to our webpage and there's a spot on there called behind the scenes, and you can
Oh my
see
God.
where It says something about breathe, and I put a little montage together of her trying not to, pass out a couple weeks ago because she couldn't catch her breath. It's fucking hilarious. It's really funny.
I was trying not to die. I don't know why you think that shit is so funny. Okay, so again, first one, listener submission. So this is from a woman, but she does want to remain anonymous, so she did not give her name. She says, I've been in a long term relationship with my boyfriend for about 2 years. We have a great relationship, but we're both still young, so we discussed waiting to get married. When we had this discussion, one of the main drawbacks was missing out on sowing our wild oats, so to speak, and regretting it later. She went on to talk about how her parents got married young and she's seen other people get married young. And when you see people get married, say right out of high school, I mean, for some people it works out great. Like my brother, his wife, they've been together since freshman year of high school. They'll be together forever. We're made for each other. But for a lot of people, they hit, early 40s, mid 40s, and they're like, what the fuck have I done with my life that I done wasted with this bitch?
Or it doesn't take that long.
Well, yeah, for some people it doesn't. So, so they're both, discussing the fact that if they were to get married, since they are so young and they haven't had other long-term relationships, what happens in 20 years if they decide they didn't go out and live a little. So, she suggested having an open relationship. She said, I thought this would be a good way of not losing what we have, but also being open to different experiences. Already fucking going off the rails. I'm like, I don't know that that's really how I would have framed that, but okay. But she did. She
I mean,
said,
I'm surprised it's the woman that's saying this. So, okay.
hey, times have changed.
No, 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 no. I no, I know. I'm not. Please, I'm not saying anything about that. I just typically when you think about this is not like something a woman's gonna be like, hey, let's
You
do
know,
this.
I would have always believed that too and thought that, but I will tell you that, okay, I feel like I say in my experience as a therapist way too fucking much. So I just want y'all to know I don't ever say that with like, guess what my job is, bitches, but more like to give some context here. Okay.
I
So
feel
y'all
like
don't,
every time you say something about being a therapist, people that are listening are like, there's no way this bitch is a therapist. There's
you
no
know what
way.
they're thinking? They're like drinking game because this bitch gonna say it again. I promise. I only say it to give context. Otherwise, you're gonna be like, "Or she just sitting around with like 20 people a week in her house talking about all this craziness? Like, what's going on there?" So, but I've found in my experience that oddly enough, if most people don't believe this, but a lot of times it is the women who suggest open relationships. It's wild. I
Hmm.
mean, it's not wild as in like something's wrong with it. It's wild as in how much that has changed.
Yeah, I mean that's a paradigm shift.
Fuck off. I hate you so much. Okay. Why you why you gotta bust me out because I didn't know the fucking word. I was like, what the fuck is this word? And this was like 10 or 15 years ago, okay? So shut up.
It wasn't that long ago.
This
You were in your
shit was so
master's degree.
I don't even think it was then. This shit was so long ago.
You're like, what's a paradigm? I'm like, you
Okay.
mean paradigm, man?
Fuck
Paradigm?
off. Let me read this shit, okay? She says, however, I'm now starting to think I screwed up. We have both gone out on a few dates since we came to an agreement, but never really discussed anything beyond that. Last week, he apparently slept with someone new, and it's driving me crazy. I had been trying to wrap my head around his sleeping with someone else, and then found out he stayed the night at her place, which somehow makes it worse for me. If it were just sex, okay, because I should have seen that coming and been more ready for it. But knowing he spent the night and stayed into the next afternoon with this person seems more intimate. Would it be selfish to ask to go back to how things were before? Or is there possibly a way to make a new arrangement that does not bother me so much? Maybe I didn't put enough thought into this. So, first of all, you didn't. You fucking
No,
didn't. Not
no,
at
no.
all. Like, you put no thought into this at all.
I mean, like open relationship. Yeah, you're gonna have sex with somebody else. That's the whole
Yeah.
point of it. Now, the thing that the whole staying the night. That's what did it for her because it went from physical to emotional. and that's what's fucking her up. But
Yeah.
has she had sex with anybody else yet?
I don't think so, from
That'll
the
change some
tone,
shit.
because like I said, you know, I did, kinda skim it down
Mm-hmm.
for whatever. But from her tone, I don't recall if she said exactly, but I didn't get the impression that she has slept with anyone. It sounded more as if we've both went out on a few dates, so we're going out and sowing some wild oats. But I don't know what part of wild oats she didn't think was going to get sown by having sex. Like you didn't think that was coming. That's a big oat that you want to sow when
Well,
you're sowing your wild oats. I'm just saying,
yeah, I mean that is the oat. And
right?
I mean,
I mean, shit, you can hang out with somebody when you're in a relationship. You can have friends. Like,
right? Yeah.
goodness.
I mean, so I would suggest to her before she says anything to him, she goes out and sleeps with somebody else and lets him know about it, because that'll really tell you how he feels. Because I guarantee, like, if they, I don't know, if he hasn't thought this through, he's probably thinking like, sweet, I get to have sex with other women. This is awesome. But when somebody has sex with her, that's going to change it for him, most
Yeah.
likely. I mean, because I mean that's big. Because I mean, as guys, we're completely opposite most of the time. We're physical,
Hmm.
and like that kind of stuff. Like even though in our heads it's like, all right, I'm gonna do this, she's gonna do that. But when she does, it's like, okay, I'm not good with this anymore. I'm not
It
good with
is
it.
amazing to me how often people find that things sound good in theory, but they didn't think that shit through at all. It's like, did you play this shit out in your head how it was going to work out? Like,
Yeah,
you didn't even think beyond a date. You she even says, like, "I guess I should have figured that was coming." You think? Like,
yeah, yeah.
you didn't think through what an open relationship was gonna mean?
Right, right.
Like,
And,
that should have crossed your mind.
and like baby step that shit, not open relationship. Like have a threesome and see how you guys feel after that. I mean, and then if that's not all right for you, then okay, that's not cool. But if you're like, all right, cool, whatever, and then maybe go the next step. But I mean, just bam, right out of the gate, we're gonna start having sex with other people.
Well,
And and I mean, like, what are you getting from somebody else that you can't get from the person you're with?
yeah. I think the biggest thing is communication, and I think that's communicating every aspect you can think of. I mean, okay, shit's gonna come up. I mean, there's always outliers to things. Shit's gonna come up that you
Yeah,
didn't think of. But for as much as you can plan, you should be communicating this stuff. And you need ground rules set in fucking stone before you go out and do this. Just like with even just threesomes. People be going out and having threesomes in the middle of this threesome. Somebody's pissed off. It's like you didn't think about how this was gonna play out. You did not think about how legs and arms and hands was gonna touch. Like
somebody's
nobody thought about this. I mean,
somebody's
come
sitting
on.
in the corner, their fucking arms are crossed, like I'm left
Just
out. Why am I
rocking.
left out?
Let me tell you, I've had plenty of guy tell me that he thought it was gonna be exciting to have a threesome with 2 girls till his ass was on the sidelines, and they do not like that.
Why?
So, I don't know. I'm just telling you.
I mean,
So,
I don't know.
but I think, having communication. So, first of all, you should have communicated, what does an open relationship look like for you? What does this mean? And second, are you going to tell each other? I mean, there's a difference between, listen, this is, don't ask, don't tell. You do your thing. I'm going to do mine. If at any point we start having feelings for another person, then we come back together and talk. But otherwise, we're going to do our own thing. Or we're going to check in with each other every single time we date somebody, because clearly she was not prepared for this motherfucker to come to her and be like, "So I slept with this girl last week." I mean, I'm like, he's giving way too much information. And I stayed all day the next day and hung out. Like,
Right,
what?
right. Like that. That's your. Are they married?
No.
Okay. But either way, I mean that's your fiance, that's your partner, that's your spouse, whatever the situation is. Like you can't come home and talk to her like she's one of your buddies. Like
Right?
like you like you just had some major conquest. Hey, babe, went out and got some strange last night. No, that's not how you approach that shit. Okay. Like, and the other thing is,
Unless you have discussed it. Now, I will
well, yeah,
say
okay, all
there
right, all right.
are people that are, but I think that more falls under like non-monogamy. But all this gets into kind of, polyamorous, non-monogamy, open. It all means different things to different people to an extent. But for some of that, people do discuss it. I mean, I've seen people that will go out on a date and get home and tell their spouse about how their date went. The thing is that they communicated that ahead of time. They have planned, this is our home base. This is who we come back to. And this is just something extra we do on the side because we feel like neither one of us are meant to be completely monogamous without, because there's different facets of everybody's personality. And a lot of people feel like that there's no one person that can fulfill every aspect of that. Because I mean, we got 1,000 different things about us. I mean, I feel
So
like
you
we
just,
feel that for each other, but and for me, like the things you don't feel like bitching about stuff, I just call a girlfriend and do that. I mean,
yeah,
I'm like, listen, my husband don't want to gossip with me, and I know you're another therapist, and we probably shouldn't be gossiping, but you got to hear what this bitch did to me, like, or I call my mama and gossip. Okay, uh, not really, I shouldn't be gossiping, but for real, we all do it. So,
you're a woman that lives in the South. Like
mm-hmm,
that,
we
you
some
can't not.
hens. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You got,
Don't
yeah,
worry. Don't worry. It's not about clients. We be bitching about family. We just talk
yeah.
about each other. That's
Mm-hmm.
all that is.
Yep. And then see him at the family reunion and be like, "Hey,
Mhm.
how you doing,
Hey,
girl?"
girlfriend. Yeah,
Yeah,
bless your heart.
like you just didn't bitch about her for the last 2 days before you had to go. Like, I
Right.
hope that bitch ain't cooking nothing because she can't. You know.
You be talking about why they're getting divorced, and then you get there and you're like, I've been praying for you. I've been so praying for you. I know things are rough right now, but they gonna get better. And then
They
going
go.
home being like, I know that bitch was fucking around. That's why she ain't got no damn marriage right there. For
Right.
my family, if you do listen, I'm making all this shit up as I go. Okay, well, I'm not sitting at home saying this shit. Just so y'all know.
She is. She really is.
No, fuck off.
So, so really, I mean, I guess I'm with you. Like, what did she expect an open relationship to be?
Yeah, I don't. I think people just, especially nowadays, like there's so many terms that get thrown around that I think a lot of people don't even get what they mean. Like, okay, you know me. I'm the most or least judgmental person ever. This is why I am a kink positive therapist and I see so many people that are into so many different things because they know I'm not judgmental. So I don't give a shit about anything. You want to be bi, be bi. You want to be homosexual, like I don't give a fuck. But I will tell you that I do think that they're trying to think of an example. Okay, for example, 12 to 13-year-old girls. I ain't seen a 12 or 13-year-old in like 2 years that didn't identify as bisexual. Now, you ain't going to convince me that every fucking one of these girls is bisexual. And then when you ask them what attracts you to another female, huh? like they don't even fucking understand the question. So
Huh?
or like they'll tell me they're polyamorous, and I'm like, okay, well, what does that mean to you? They don't even know what the word means. I'm like, you're not fucking polyamorous if you can't tell me what fucking polyamorous even means. Come on now.
I'm polyamorous. What's that? Which letter is it? LG. Which letter is it? That I'm that one. I'm that one.
Or
It-
I don't have a problem with people identifying as non-binary. I don't want to hear your viewpoint on that. It's whatever. I don't care about that either. But you'll ask somebody what that means to them, like what made you decide that that's how you feel, that you don't identify. They don't even. Some of these people, they're like, they don't even really understand what non-binary means.
Okay, and
So
before, hold on, just so everybody knows that it's not a wokeness issue for me. It's people are trying to say I'm non-binary, so I'm not putting myself in a group. And by saying you're non-binary, you're putting yourself in a group with other non-binary people. So you're still in a
yeah,
fucking group. Like
I
that's
know,
just
I
that
know.
part. That part is like what? But at the end of the day, I don't give a fuck. Be
Yeah,
whatever you
no,
want. I
yeah.
don't give a I don't give a shit. But don't get pissed off at me when you change the letters every day and you didn't let me know, okay? Like, I'm not
Yeah.
trying to offend anybody, but fuck, I can't keep up.
Yeah,
Everybody's
and
switching everything every day. Your names are different, all kinds. Like I want to respect what you are, who you are, how you identify. But fuck, I mean, one day you're a letter, the next day you're a fucking robot, the next thing you're a fucking symbol. I don't know. I can't keep up. I'm not trying to be a dick.
yeah.
I'm totally. I'm on board with whatever you guys want to do. But shit,
Well, and
give us a fighting chance.
I tell clients that all the time. I'm not saying anything that I don't say to them because, I mean, especially teen clients. I'm like, listen, okay, we're in the South. Your parents grew up in a different era. Like, you cannot throw all this shit at them and keep changing your shit every day and expect them to keep up. Like, you're going to have to calm down. Like, you done changed this 15 times, what you identify as. You're going to have
Yeah,
to stop with this. And I joke with my clients all the time about, why are we adding more letters? Why? Like, for somebody who don't want to be put into a box, you sure are putting yourself into a fucking box. Stop doing it. so,
yeah,
so I'm not saying anything I don't say to people.
yeah. And I mean,
So yeah,
and it is.
we don't give
And
a shit what people do. I don't care at all.
no, I caught so much hate the other day on Twitter because somebody said something about Alabama being in the Bible Belt, and I basically was like, the only time that belt comes out is on Sundays. The rest of the week they take that shit off unless they need it for another reason. Like, there's no Bible Belt, Alabama, unless it's time to bitch about something like this. But and somebody was like all getting all over me. He's like, "You're a damn Yankee." I'm like, "I'm from Florida, so I'm pretty much not any of that." So yeah,
Right.
just I'm not any of that stuff. But it, I don't know. But going back to like define an open relationship, like I feel like everybody knows what that means.
But,
Like,
it does mean different. I'm not saying okay, it may not mean different stuff to different people, but I think that you need to identify how you're going to go about things. Like, I I don't ever want to give away. I'm very, very serious about confidentiality, so I don't want to give away any identifying information. But I have asked a client before, at what point would your significant other become so close to someone that it would become a problem for you? And they didn't have an answer to that. And so
mm,
it it readily showed me that that was something they needed to discuss because they had not ever thought of that. And to me, that's something that's very important. Like, you need to be discussing with your partner, if we're going to see other people, at what point do we say, okay, we're each other's home base. We're always going to come back to each other, but we're going to have, because polyamory, you have actual, like, full romantic it's not just sleeping with people. It's not just going out on dates. It's not like
mm,
swinging or anything like that. It's also having other relationships. But you have to figure out, like, is there any point at which I'm going to get too close to another person that you're not okay anymore with that? Like, if I start going to this person for comfort instead of you, that would be a problem.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know, if you started taking this person to functions instead of taking me, that might be a problem. I'm just saying, like, there's different things you need to think about. Again, figuring out, are you going to talk about these things? Are you going to mention that you went out on a date, or is this a don't ask, don't tell? If you do tell, what information do you give? I mean, I think to some extent you might wanna tell because, everybody needs to stay safe, so somebody, like, if I'm sleeping with somebody and they're sleeping with somebody else, I wanna know so I can get tested or they can
Y-
get tested or
Yeah, yeah. And I feel like she didn't know what sowing your wild oats, what the
No,
definition of that was either, because
I
that's not
don't think
dating other
so.
people. That's just
Yeah.
that's just whoring around, whether man or woman, doesn't matter. It's a universal term. That I mean, that's what that means.
You
So
know,
I mean, it's like you should have known what was like what you were
I
getting
wonder
yourself
though
into.
I wonder though if for her it wasn't about sex. I wonder if it were more like, especially with younger females, because we're, as little girls growing up, it's, that whole romance and Cinderella and, fairy tale stuff. So we all think everything's supposed to be this great romance. So I wonder how much of it might have been, since she's still young, that thinking, is this my Prince Charming? Or, might I have, if I didn't commit myself to him, might I had this great love story with somebody else, So she wants to keep her options open to make sure she doesn't meet her knight in shining armor, but didn't really think about the sex aspect of what was going to go along with this. So I think that's probably more of it. And the second he told her he had sex with somebody, she's like, pump the brakes. What?
Hmm. Well, what
Wait,
happens?
huh?
What happens if he finds his princess that he's the Prince Charming for?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing.
I
I
mean,
mean, that's because see, that's even another thing. I mean, I could sit here and come up with things to discuss all day long about this. But that would be another one. Are we going to go out on one date with a person or several dates? Like, how many dates do you go out on with the same person before that's too much? Because an
yeah,
open relationship, but not, hey, I want you to fall for somebody else and this screw up what we got going. So, but apparently, they didn't talk about any of this shit. So, I think let me just say this. I don't know that it's necessarily unselfish to go back and try to change things now. I mean, he might feel like it's kind of selfish, but at the end of the day, not communicating is what got you into this fucking mess. So, I feel like communicating is going to be how you get out of it. So even if it sucks to have the conversation and it is uncomfortable and awkward and it turns into an argument, you're going to have to just fucking talk about it.
yeah, and I don't. I guess for me, if he is like super against even discussing not being in one, I would question his level of commitment to her.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like, I feel like you really have to trust the person you're with to
Yeah.
be in that kind of relationship. So if she
Yeah.
brings it up and he loses his mind, or he's like, "This is what you fucking wanted," he loses it. He's probably not gonna. I mean, I'm not gonna say he won't be, but I don't feel like your chances are real good of him being, you know, faithful all the time.
Mhm. I mean, I know we are in Alabama, so I'm probably gonna get a lot of hate from anybody locally who listens to this shit. They're probably gonna be like, "Damn, this hoe," but it's not for me. Like, I am monogamous, and I've told you before, you cheat on me, your shit's gonna be in the front yard. Like, I'm not I mean, I got divorced from my first marriage because I caught his ass cheating. There was no discussion. It was filing for divorce, your shit's in the yard. The end. Like,
Mhm.
that's not me. But for people that genuinely feel like they are not monogamous, they're not built for that, but they're being honest with their partner, they're being open, and it's okay for both of them, I don't see a problem with that. They're not hurting anyone else. They're not bothering me. Who you sleep with ain't bothering me. If you don't pay my mortgage, I don't give a fuck what you do because you have no effect on my life. Like, if you're paying my bills, we might talk. But otherwise, you got no effect on my life. I don't give a shit what you're doing. Like, I don't
As,
care.
as long as their open relationship doesn't include me,
Yeah,
you're
like,
good,
I
right?
don't care. So, again, I'm sure, people that know me that listen to this and are very conservative may be like, damn, she doesn't. But no, I don't care. It doesn't bother me at all. I could find this out about anybody I know and I wouldn't think less of them.
No. But I don't know. I think you need to do it because that's who you are,
Yeah.
and not because you're worried about missing out on something.
Yeah. I
I
think
mean,
that if you're worried about that, that you should more have and this is just my opinion, I would think maybe you should take some time apart and sow your wild oats. I don't think you should be trying to have just an open relationship because that ship
mm-mm.
has sailed. When you're just dating and you're like, hey, we're not going to get serious, we're still dating other people, okay. But once you cross that threshold and you're in a committed relationship, I don't really know how you just go back to just dating. I mean, like, eh, I don't know.
There's no walking that back, not
Yeah.
easily. And I mean, it's either gonna be. Yeah, I mean, it's not gonna be like it's only gonna go one of two ways. It's either gonna be like he's gonna be like, okay, cool, or you guys are gonna break up. That's it. There's no middle
Yeah.
ground. There's
And
absolutely no middle ground.
I think another thing too is this was your idea. Now, I don't know from the way she wrote it whether or not this was something she had to really talk him into or if he just pounced on it like, "Fuck yeah, let's do that." I don't know. So I don't know how he reacted. But at the end of the day, this was your idea. So you cannot like come at him like he did some wrong shit because
Mhm.
you came up with this. So I think I would approach it as, listen, I know this was my idea. I'm fully saying I fucked up, but I think I might have messed up. I don't think I might be as cool with this as I thought I was going to be. So we need to talk about where we go from here because I thought I was
Mhm.
on board with this, which is why I brought it up, and now I don't really think it's working for me. And you go from there. I mean, that's really all you can do.
I mean, especially he goes out and it's the first time, and she's like, "Whoa, huh? Whoa,
Yeah.
this is not what I expected." It was. It's like, well, what did you think it was? That's exactly what an open relationship is.
You know, I do think that no matter how much you prepare for certain things, until it comes down to it, you don't know how you're going to react. Because, I mean, a lot of people I've heard say, they were completely fine when they first started their open or polyamorous relationship until their significant other went on that first date. And then it was like, oh my gosh, I'm like almost having a panic attack because, oh my God, we're doing this. It's happening. I don't know what's going on
Mm.
because you've now opened up something that, like you said, you can't walk back. Like,
And the whole thing about it, it's like, why are you doing it? Are
yeah,
you doing it because like you said, you're not monogamous and you're not that kind of person and all that? But if you're doing it because you're worried about what you might miss out on, you're
hmm,
doing it for the wrong reason, and you really don't want that.
yeah.
And like you said, it's better to be apart from each other. Sow your wild oats, which, by the way, in case she's wondering, that means fucking other people. Just to make
I
that
don't,
fucking clear.
I don't
That's
know
just
that I
what
would
it
put it
that
just like
it's
that, but
what it is.
okay,
It's what it is. I mean, yeah, I just wanna make sure it's clear that's what it is.
okay,
Um,
okay,
and then you can come back together if that's what you want, but,
yeah.
I mean, you freak out the on the first one?
Yeah, I think this should be more of a situation where it's like, "Hey, let's take this amount of time apart and then come back together." Like, let's take 6 months, do our own thing, and decide. I know when I was younger, when I was in my early 20s, I had a really, really close friend, and her boyfriend had been together since we were, I mean, junior high, high school. I mean, they had been together forever, but they had never dated anybody else. Never. Neither one of them had ever even been out on a date with another person. And I remember my friend saying, you know, I feel like we're getting to the point where the next expectation is marriage because we're getting, on into our 20s. And I've never even lived alone. Like I've lived with my parents and then I lived with him and I've never even dated anybody else. And I don't know that 20 years from now I'm going to not going to regret never exploring any other possibility, you know?
Mhm.
Because how many times do you hear people, I mean, I've said it. I didn't realize how bad my first marriage was until I got into my second one. And now I'm like, why the fuck did I stay with that loser? Because I mean, but at the time I didn't realize it was that bad until we got married and you treat me amazing. So
I mean,
I know, how you should be treated by your spouse. But back then, didn't realize it was that shitty. So they, s- she told him, I remember it did not go over very well in the beginning, but she had said, I think we need to take some time apart, date other people. We'll see where it goes. And I don't know how long it was, less than a year. I want to say it was like maybe 8, 9 months, but they ended up back together and married for years and years and years, kids together. So, I mean, they ended up together anyway. But at the time, I don't think it was a bad idea. I think it was probably the smart thing to do for them. If you're having doubts, then address them. This is how people get stuck in a marriage and start feeling miserable
mhm.
and staying in it because they now have kids or they don't want to disappoint other people or they fucked up their finances by going and buying all this stuff with another person and they can't afford to move out. I mean, you just get yourself into such a mess. Like, don't do that. Figure
Yeah.
out what you want.
Well, I think it's a good time for me to bring this up. I think I need about 6 months.
bitch, we too far into it now, okay? No, that ship sailed. That ship has sailed for you. Anyway, okay, so that's our answer on that one. So the next one is from Reddit, and they labeled it as just want to be left alone. So it says, I am a 19-year-old American studying abroad in the UK, and I keep running into this cyclist guy, late 50s, on the main street of the town. He continually tries to make conversation with me, which I find irritating. The first time I was sitting on a bench watching a video and not interested in talking, but it didn't keep him from talking to me. So this is how their conversation went, she says. Him, what are you doing? Me, trying to watch a video. Him, do you want to get a beer with me? Me, lying, I'm 17. Him, okay, well, do you want to get a Coca-Cola with me then? Me, no. Him, why? I don't know, I just don't.
I don't know. Because you're a fucking pedophile. Like, I
Right?
just told you I'm
Right?
17. No, I don't want any candy and get in your van. Like, no,
Exactly.
get the fuck away from me.
So it says the second time I was walking home, enjoying the peace and quiet, and here he comes again. So he asked, do you have no friends? Why are you alone? Which she took as an insult. She says, because I like to not be bothered by people. And then he asked if she had a boyfriend, which she lied and said yes. So then he asked, why did he leave you alone? And she said, because I like to walk in peace. She says, then he gave me his number, which I did not call or I did not want and did not call. So then there's the third time. The third time, I was sitting in the plaza again with my friend at midnight. This time, I was pretty blunt. He, and it says confused, so he, with a confused expression, said, you didn't call me. And she's like, so this was her response. Because you're very annoying. Are there no other 60-year-olds to talk to? Why do you keep trying to talk to a teenager? She says, he looked shocked and then scowled and said some British phrase I don't understand and backed away. My friend said I'm incredibly rude to a nice old guy. I don't think it's my fault that British guys don't get that I'm being polite because that's part of American culture. And they need me to bluntly state my disinterest the British way. He has since tried to talk to me again. How do I get this guy to finally get that I don't want to talk to him?
Okay. First, she's from the South.
Yeah,
Because
right. Yeah.
because if she's talking about polite American, she's definitely from the South. But and her friend, why are you so rude to this guy? Like, if it's her friend, she knows that this is like the third or fourth
Right?
time old creeper is trying to, like, dude, like, it's not like he's rolling up to her in a Lamborghini. He's on his fucking Huffy. So why is he trying to, like, you know,
Okay, I don't what
start?
does that got to do with anything?
Well, I mean, old guys trying to pick up young chicks. I mean, it's like, you gotta bring something to the table if you're gonna try that bullshit. And she's right to be like, get away from me. But she hasn't been mean yet.
Yeah, right? Yeah, I don't think so either.
Not yet. I mean, like, I
I
don't know
mean,
how you would handle it.
yeah, I would not be nice. Not at all. I mean, because the thing is, she says she's 19, but she did lie and tell him she was 17 just to get him to go away. And his response was, oh, well, let's go get a Coke. But let me tell you, though, as a female, and I'm not a feminist, so I'm not going to get on a fucking soapbox about, oh my God, woe is me, I'm a woman. But I will say that as a woman, this is the kind of shit that we have to deal with that men don't have to deal with. You know, it is
Yeah,
so
that's
annoying.
fair.
I cannot tell you how many fucking times I've had a guy hit on me that would not take no for an answer. I literally have told a guy one day who asked me out at a gas station, I showed him my ring and said I'm married, and he said to me, and I quote, "What's that got to do with me?" Like, what's your husband got to do with me? I was like, well, a lot if he were to find out you standing here talking to me like this. But he didn't give a shit. Not at all. It was so rude. It's ridiculous how some men just keep on and on and on.
I mean, what? I guess I'm just different. One, I wouldn't do it. I mean,
Yeah.
but I mean, you can say something, and if she's like, you can tell she's not interested, leave her the fuck alone.
Yeah.
Like. Come on. I mean,
Yeah.
what does she have to do? You know what? Just get a whistle, fucking rape whistle, and the next time he
Right.
comes over, just fucking blow that shit as loud as you can. I mean, because I mean, and I'm, you know, slightly funny, but slightly not. I mean, what the fuck else is she supposed to do? Like, she was
Well,
nice about
yeah.
it. She clearly was like, no, not interested. I'm trying to watch my fucking movie here.
Mhm.
Second, I don't even have my boyfriend here with me because I want to be alone.
Right.
And then third, get the fuck on. Like, what more does she have to do? Like,
Uh, right, right, and, too, I mean, my first thought was, "Is this safe?" Because
yeah,
this is 3 times now that she said something to him, and he shows no signs of taking no for an answer.
yeah. I
So,
mean,
I mean, he doesn't
we're
got a
starting to
van
get
to
into
throw her in, so there's that at least. It's not like
yeah.
you
Well,
gonna grab her and run off on Huffy, but
we're getting into stalker territory.
right, yeah. I mean, this would be concerning to me. I just
Mm-hmm.
gotta say, at this point, I don't think my ass would be on Main Street at fucking midnight and 1 o'clock in the morning.
No, and it's unfortunate because what she has to do,
Yeah.
and it's not fair at all whatsoever.
Mhm.
But she is going to have to change her routine
Yeah.
because this douchebag won't leave her alone, and that is completely unfair. It
It
shouldn't
is.
have to happen, and it is something that women have to deal with, and I do not because you know. I don't know. It's pretty amazing that if a woman is interested in a guy and we're like, no thanks, they go away. Like we don't have
Yeah.
we we don't get a second
Yeah.
chance. Even if we're like, shit, I shouldn't have done that. They don't come
Yep.
back. That's it. It's one
No.
and done. Like
Yeah.
that's all we
It's
got. We got
over.
one shot, they go away, and we're done. Like we
Yep.
have to change nothing. So I understand that as a guy, I've got it. It's fucking easy when it
Mhm.
comes to that. So unfortunately, she is going to have to change it. But also at the same time, I mean, if she was my daughter, I would be like, "Look, you like it's clearly not safe for you to be out
Yeah.
that late at night when you got that kind of guy." So, I mean, even if he wasn't like constantly coming on to her and everything else, I would still, she's my daughter, be like, "Look, you need to not be out at that time of night, regardless of what's going on and him, because I mean that's just not safe. Because eventually,
Yeah.
it sounds like this dude's going to take it one step too far. Because I mean, I gave you my number. She didn't want it, and he's upset because she didn't call. Motherfucker, I didn't want your shit to begin with.
Right.
So what
I
made you
did
think I was
not
gonna
ask
call?
you.
Like we did.
Exactly.
I don't even want to talk to you when you're in front of me. What the fuck makes you think I'm gonna pick up the phone and call you? Like
What
really?
is it they say? God grant me the confidence of a white man. Because these motherfuckers, they got the confidence of I don't get it. Because if I gave somebody my number and they didn't call me, I would be so fucking embarrassed to even cross their path again. I would cut a fucking trail going the opposite direction. Because I wouldn't even want to make eye contact knowing that this motherfucker just did not call. Like, I gave him my number and he did not call. That would be humiliating.
Meanwhile, guys like us, we're like, did I not write it clear enough? Did you think one was a 6 and it was actually an 8? Here, let me type it for you. Like, give me your phone. Let me put it in your phone. I mean,
It
so yeah,
is. I
I
mean, I will
mean,
say this for guys. It is the onus is pretty much put on men to do the asking out a lot of the time. And
mhm,
so I I I would not want to have to be a guy and have that pressure because that's got to be pressure. That means that guys are the ones who have to constantly deal with the fear of rejection in that sense. So
mhm.
it's got to be tough to, know that at any moment that you ask somebody out, they might completely reject you and that hurt your feelings. So I do feel bad for guys on that. And I could see how a guy might ask a second time because, if he says something or asks a girl out or something and then feels later like, wow, I really didn't approach that right. I sounded like a fucking idiot. Maybe I should, if I see her out again, I'm gonna come at it from a different angle. So, I could see somebody even asking a second time,
Mhm.
like there's been times you see people you don't make a good first impression. I'm sure when I took out those fucking ropes at the DMV, I didn't make a good first impression on anybody in there. I mean, they had those ropes, like the red ropes, like when you're going on the red carpet. I took every one of them out, and I was the only motherfucker in there. So I guarantee everybody that worked at that fucking DMV office is still to this day thinking about that crazy bitch who fell all over the things, got tangled up, and needed someone to help me out of the fucking red ropes, is what I'm saying. It was that bad. Like, I'm probably on fucking YouTube somewhere. So
As
I
you should
cannot,
be.
right? I mean, I would laugh at that shit. So if I were to be a guy and make a first impression like that, I could see how maybe I see her again thinking, you know what, I'm gonna be real suave this time. I'm gonna be smooth and come at this from a different angle. But once somebody has shut you down a second time, you need to fucking go on. Like, that's too much. You're
Yeah.
being creepy.
And it's also unfair to women, and hopefully it's changing. It's not here, but like if a woman is the one to ask the man out, or if the woman is to say propose to the man, it makes the man look weak. Get,
Yeah,
get the fuck out of here. It's just so archaic. It's like, who
it
gives,
is.
like, and you know how much easier than make lives for us? Like,
Yeah,
that'd be great.
yeah.
Be awesome because we wouldn't have to worry about it. But also, look, Brit boy, you are 50.
Mm-hmm.
She is 19. Like, no,
Yeah, she ain't
fucking
studying your
no,
ass.
no.
Like,
If
not at
if
all.
if she can be your granddaughter, no, fucking no, no.
Mm-hmm.
The answer is no.
Yeah,
When you look at
it's
her, you're
crazy.
like, oh, hey, no, not gonna do that.
I mean, I can't imagine. Like, we're in our 40s. I can't imagine looking at a 19-year-old and thinking, I bet we got some shit in common. No, no,
Walk up, be
not a
like,
fucking thing.
be like, hey, sweetheart, you remember Tom from MySpace?
Right?
I
Right.
mean, what am I gonna talk to her about?
I
Really?
mean, these
Really?
motherfuckers don't know what a pager is. They don't fucking know what them brown skates look like at the skating rink or being at a fucking lock in. They don't know what it's like to have to roll your fucking car windows up and down manually or
Or
having a lighter and ashtray in your fucking car.
right? Or
They
having a
don't know about
phone
any
that's
of this shit.
connected to the house.
Right?
So, I mean, what are you gonna talk to her about? Yeah, so those apps. Apps.
Yeah. What the fuck did you have to talk to this person about? That would be the
And
most boring talk ever.
to be honest, like at what level do you have to be intellectually as a man to have something in common with somebody that young? And there's nothing
Mhm.
wrong with being that young, but she doesn't know who she is yet. She doesn't know what she likes or anything
No.
else. Like I don't want to. No, no, I don't want to try and like figure, because you'd have to completely change who you are.
Mhm.
And I'm not trying to do this. Fuck, no, look, I love you. You're worth the work, but I don't have to put in a lot of work with you. But what I mean is, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
we're on each other's level and all that shit. I'm not trying to put in that much work because there's no woman worth that much fucking work,
That's like when people talk about, getting to a certain age and they're like, I'm gonna trade her in for two 20-year-olds. I'm like, bitch, what you gonna do with a 20-year-old?
right?
Come on.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
Your ass is
mm-mm.
asleep on the couch when she's getting ready to go out. All right,
Right?
just look, just just be happy with some fucking HGTV and sleep on the fucking couch. All right, the
I
20-year
mean,
old days are over.
we used to party and drink till 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. Now I'm like, motherfucker, it's 11. I ain't going out nowhere. I
Fuck,
mean,
I
if I
mean,
ain't out of the house by 8, I'm not fucking going. Like,
shit,
that's it.
shit. We woke up at noon
Yes,
yesterday.
we did.
I was like, Jesus Christ, what
Oh,
time is
God.
it? It's fucking noon. We woke up and it's like, what do you want for dinner? Well, dinner, yeah, it's in 3 fucking hours. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's 3 o'clock, babe. We've been up for 3 hours. Like, the fuck are we
Oh,
doing?
gosh. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the last time you and I got hammered was
Mhm.
January 1st, 2012.
Yep.
And that's because we're almost done with the adoption,
Mhm.
and we both woke up with massive hangovers, and we said, "Oh fuck, who's gonna watch the kids?"
Yeah, we now have 2 toddlers, and
That was
we both have a hangover.
that was the last time I've
Yeah.
ever gotten drunk. The last fucking time. I mean,
Yep.
I during this podcast, but I'll tell you, this is the only time I drink. This is
Yeah.
it. This and golf. That's it. That's the only time. And I mean, that's just a few beers. So, no, like you slow down for a reason.
Mhm. Yeah, like, I'm at the age now where if I get drunk, I need, like, a buffer day because I need a day in there just to recoup. It used to be, we drink tonight all night, and at 6 a.m., I'm back up eating at Crystal's. But
Yeah,
now,
right,
I
right.
need, like, a buffer day, and then that next day, I'm, like, barely on fucking saltines yet.
You're
Like, still, like, "Give me some ginger ale, some fucking crackers because
right.
it's gonna take a bit."
Gone are the days when you and I were first dating and we're playing Guitar Hero and you're sitting on the floor drinking Jaeger right out of the bottle.
Oh
And
my god.
now we look at Jaeger and we're like, I can't do it.
You know, when you would say that, you always talk about that and make that joke about me sitting there with that Jaeger and a straw. And I did. Okay, I did.
Yeah,
That's fair.
you
But
straight
I
up
did.
did. Yeah.
I did. I really liked Jaeger back then. But I haven't drank that in years. And then when we did that episode with designated quizzers and the shot was Jaeger and mayonnaise. Okay, first of all, the mayonnaise was but aside from that, I just tasted the Jaeger and was like, who the fuck drinks this?
Right,
Why did I ever drink this? This tastes like
right,
black
right,
licorice and shit. Like, what
right,
is this? Who
right,
drinks? How are they still selling this shit?
right. I mean, it's gone from bottom shelf tequila to just slamming it back to look, I'm gonna need my Macallan 25. Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's like $200 a bottle, but that's because you drink about this much of it and you sip on it. And no, you don't let fucking ice melt into it. That's why I've got my stainless steel ice cubes that keep that shit cool, but nothing melts into it because you don't let that shit get watered down.
You
That's called being a
know,
man.
Nicole and I Friday had this discussion at lunch because I told her, I said, I've still got the discussion that you and I had down on our spreadsheet as something to go over on the podcast because she was discussing how her husband likes to collect so much bourbon. And I told her, I said, well, I haven't talked about it yet because I'm not really sure which side I fall on here. Like, I don't know if I have a problem with it or not. Because my husband has a lot of fucking liquor, but he doesn't really drink that much either. So then we get into this whole discussion. Oh my God. It was so funny though, having this talk with her because we knew exactly what the other's husband was talking about. I'm like, does he use those big round things? And she's like, no, the square ones. I was like, oh yeah, like the little whiskey things that you put in there. She's like, yeah, because something about the way it melts. And I'm like, yep, I done heard this shit 100 times.
Yeah,
Don't.
as long as it's not like Johnny Walker Blue Label or Macallan or something like that. If it's like Red Label Johnny Walker, then you can get the big round ice cube, and then you just the way it melts slow. It waters it down enough, and you're not drinking super expensive liquor. And you got to get the cup or the glass that has the little nipple at the bottom of it that sticks up. That way it rotates around and everything. So I mean, I'm not a frat boy anymore. I'm a goddamn
Yeah.
man. Okay, and
Well,
drink like a man. All right.
apparently,
So
he is too with his drinking. So,
telling you,
but I guess it's kind of, it doesn't even matter now. I think because I don't think he's traveling as much as he used to, so he's not buying as much bourbon. But
I mean,
so
no, telling you, that's the life. Sitting next to a pool when I was traveling, sitting next to a pool in South Florida with a cigar and a scotch. I mean, that's the life. Alone,
mhm, mhm.
alone.
Yeah, because I remember one of them nights where you sent me this fancy fucking dinner you were eating that the damn dessert cost like $100, and I'm over here showing you my cup of mac and cheese that I was eating with the fucking kids, trying to give them
Yeah,
both a bath. Oh, I
yeah.
could have
Between
stabbed you.
between dinner and dessert, we spent almost $600. I mean, I didn't pay for it, so I mean,
Well, yeah, it's easy when you can write it off. You just use that company card, write that shit off.
exactly.
Yeah.
But no, fuck. I don't even remember what the question was. What were we talking about?
We did go completely off the rails. Um, the UK thing. Okay, so first of
Oh,
all, I
fuck! I done
think
forgot about it.
right, right. First of all, I think you need to quit fucking being out by yourself.
Yeah, for
around this
sure.
place.
Yeah.
2, if it's on the main street, I mean, go somewhere else. Like, I get it. I mean, it's like you said, she shouldn't have to change her routine, but it's one of those situations like, would you rather be right or alive? Because you
Yeah.
might not be
I
able to
mean,
be both. Like, you might
yeah.
not be able to get your way and not get killed. Because he sounds kind of sketch,
Yeah. And just remember when the cops come, they got sticks. Okay.
right?
You're in
Yeah.
England. All right. They got fucking sticks. What are they going to do?
Yeah.
They're not going to do anything for you.
No.
I got a
And you
stick.
know,
And
and what are they usually like when they have real big crime? It's like a machete over there. So you're gonna be like, these fuckers are gonna show up with a stick, and this dude's gonna have a
mhm.
machete trying to kill you on his Huffy. So unless you can outrun this bike all the time on these cobblestone fucking roads, you might want to go somewhere else or get your ass in bed earlier. I'm just
Yeah.
putting it out there.
I mean, it is unfortunate, but that is what she's going to have to do.
Yeah.
I mean, it
And
does suck.
if
And
she's
she shouldn't have to, but
no, no. And, with her saying too that she's studying abroad, that tells me that, like, she's studying abroad is a short period of time. I mean, it depends, but that tells me she's not living there for a long, extended period. So we don't even know how well she knows the area.
yeah.
So, you know, th-
And I mean, I understand trying to, and I mean, I think it's good that she's getting out and she's not just
yeah.
nose in the books and she's trying to experience the culture and everything. But I don't know, you can get murdered there over there just like you can over here.
Hmm.
And I mean, this dude is like an investigation
Yeah.
discovery, fucking episode.
Yeah, you gonna be a Dateline episode.
Yeah,
I'm just
yeah.
saying.
I mean,
Like, for real.
yeah. I
She's
mean, it
she's
would
gonna
make
be
me
on
nervous.
our other our true crime podcast with our cold cases. It's gonna be like cold case, 19-year-old went missing. She was sitting in the town square and then fucking appeared. Like, nobody knows where she is at. And we're gonna be the only people that can solve the case. We're gonna be like, it's that 50-year-old and that fucking Huffy on his Schwinn out there just pumping the fucking pedals. He done got her.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think you're sufficiently drunk and I'm sufficiently out of damn answers. So that appears to be all for tonight.
It's always so sad when this is over because then I got to go back to just hanging out with you.
You ain't gonna hang out with me. I got shit. I got my own stuff I could be doing. I mean, shit. I ain't studying your ass. Go do whatever you need to do. I don't care. You need to stay your ass in there and edit this shit. That way you can get it up.
Don't be telling me what to do. You ain't my mama.
Whatever. I don't even
Look,
care.
I'm not going to do what you tell me to do.
Don't edit it then. I don't give a shit.
We all know I'm going to do what you tell me to do. That's how we stay married.
That's fair. That's fair.
But anyway, guys, hey, thanks for listening. This is what it's like all the time.
Mhm.
It's fucking awesome. And if you didn't like it, just just try it again next week. You will. You'll eventually like it.
Yeah. I mean,
Uh,
we're awesome.
Fucking right. But make sure you guys go out to cotrpod.com. You'll find all that shit we were talking about earlier, social media, Patreon, our true crime podcast, which is Fiendish Fairy Tales, which apparently wasn't good enough. So my wife changed it to where now I have to listen to cold cases and I don't fucking like it. I don't like it at all. I don't like shit that doesn't have a resolution, but I'm
That's
held
okay.
hostage for like an
He's
hour.
learning. He's gonna learn to like it. He's gonna
But
learn.
I did solve a case today.
He
So
he did not solve a case.
I solved
Just
the
go
case.
listen and see what you think. It is not solved. There is no body that's been found, okay?
But it's out there on our website along with if you want to submit something for the show, whether it's something that you have going on or if it's something on the internet. And it doesn't have to be Reddit. It can be some other crazy shit. We'll talk about it. We'll make fun
And
of it.
you know what too? We are kinda harsh at times. We do mean it in all good fun, but I do
Oh yeah.
know that, sometimes there's certain things I talk about that I'm like, "Can you just be nice about this? Because I really don't want you to hurt my feelings." So, if you haven't sent in a submission because you're worried that we're gonna be dicks, feel free to send it in and say, "Hey, could you just be nice about this one?" And we will do that, okay?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
will
that is
try to be much calmer.
yeah, that is fair. Because I mean, yeah, yeah. If you send something in and you're like, man, these motherfuckers are gonna go off on it, just be like, hey, um, Candace, can you make sure that Jason's not a dick about this? And I
I
will.
definitely will.
Yeah, I do what I'm told. I'm telling you, I do
Yeah.
what I'm told. So yeah,
Because let me tell
send
you,
stuff
half the
in.
stuff that we joke about, we genuinely would not laugh about it if we were sitting and talking to a friend about it. We would
Mm-mm,
be like, "Oh, this is a
mm-mm,
genuine problem," you
mm-hmm.
know. But we this is our comedic relief, but we can be serious. We have serious sides. So,
Yeah, yeah.
because I just feel like there's probably people out there. Because, like, I will talk to friends and they'll give me their stuff. And I'm like, why you didn't send the shit in then? And they're like, well, I don't need your ass cracking on me on the fucking podcast. It's like, well, damn,
Right.
slip a little note in there and tell me don't be a dick on this one and I'll be
Yeah.
nicer. Okay.
Yeah, because on the submission form there is like a subject line. You can just be like, just put "Don't be a dick" and then
Yeah.
tell us what you what you want us to talk about, and we'll be nice about it the whole
We will
time.
be nice.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll try anyway.
It's your line, babe.
I don't got any lines. There ain't no more lines
Hey,
on my sheet. What is it?
be sure to subscribe.
Oh, there is more
Jesus Christ,
lines.
we do the
Shit.
same thing. Look, you know what? Last week you bitched because I always change it. This week I didn't change a fucking thing. You still can't keep up.
You know why? Because I've already told you stop fucking highlighting my lines. I don't like it. I want them different colors. I keep changing it and sending it back to you, and then the next week you send me the same bullshit. I'm like, why don't you just take the copy I send you and mark off that so that I don't have to redo this shit every week?
Look, it's blue, it's green. You're green. It's your favorite color. Like, what the fuck? It's not
Which, if
hard.
the words were green, fine. I don't like it highlighted in green. Whatever. Okay. The gist of it is be sure to subscribe, okay? If you're going out there to give us a review, 5-star reviews are greatly appreciated. And if you don't mind leaving comments, because it's great to put 5 stars. We really do appreciate that. I love, seeing that people are enjoying it. But I will say that the more people that we can reach, the more people we want to reach. And in order to do that, you kind of have to move up the ranks. And to move
Mhm.
up the ranks in Apple Podcasts means that you have to leave comments with the reviews because
Which
Apple
is
apparently doesn't give a fuck about those 5 stars
they do
unless you
not.
write something. You could
Yeah.
literally go in there and write anything. You could write hosts are dicks 5 stars and
Yeah, yeah,
it would work. Like
yeah. It
it
doesn't
would
even matter
work.
what you write. I'm writing this because they told me to.
Yeah, like it's an
Like,
algorithm. It
it's
doesn't
fucking
give a shit.
stupid.
But
Stupid.
it it is what it is. You gotta play the game. So, but if it is gonna be less than 5 stars, either give us constructive criticism or say the fuck off of it and just go listen
Yeah.
to somebody else's podcast.
Yeah, and
Cause
if you're
yeah,
gonna give us constructive criticism, cotrpodcast dot at gmail.com.
yeah, at
That's where
least
you
give
send
a
constructive
yeah.
criticism. It's
Cause here's the
not on
thing.
fucking reviews.
Yeah, don't ruin the fucking podcast for everybody just because you don't agree with something. If you don't agree with
Mhm.
something, send us a fucking email. We'll have a discussion about it. There
Yeah,
ain't
we'll
no
talk
need for
about
you
you
to
on the
ruin
next
our fucking
podcast.
podcast. Yeah, probably. But we don't need you ruining our shit, okay? Like these mics ain't fucking free. I done spent a lot of money on this for you to ruin my shit, okay? I'm not trying to talk to like 3 people. We need I don't want to lose all our subscribers. I'm not trying to get canceled. Just fucking leave 5 stars, write your little comment, go on about your day. Okay?
Oh,
But
well,
at least
okay.
subscribe. And subscribing means clicking on the little plus sign.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And like I always say every week, remember, stay content with your settlemate. Trust me, you're gonna need them later in life because I mean you don't want to die alone. So keep that
And
settlement.
And don't forget to go and look at our merch because I wore one of our Settlemate shirts the other day, and I cannot tell you how many people stopped me and were like, "Oh my god, I love the shirt. Where did you get that?" And I was able to tell them we trademarked this shit because everybody was like, "Settlemate, I've never even heard that." I'm like, "Of course you haven't, because this shit we made up. I mean, this
Did,
is some shit
did
we came up with."
did anybody buy any?
I don't know. I
Then
hadn't
why the
checked
fuck are
it.
we telling this story?
Oh my god.
I want results. I don't give a
What
shit if people like it.
What I'm saying is the shirt was a good conversation starter. People liked it. It's a cute shirt. A lot of people liked it. So I'm just telling you, go check out our merch. The shirts
Yeah,
are pretty cool. So
yeah. But if you're 19 and in England, don't buy one because you definitely don't need anybody coming to talk to you.
I know that's right. Maybe we need to put some fucking bug repellent or something, some bear spray. You spray his ass, tase him or something.
Damn. All
No,
right.
okay, fine, fine.
All right, guys. Have a good one. We'll see you next week.
Bye.